Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Charlotte.
And my name is Fizz.
And we're back for episode 7, series 2, episode 7. I don't know how we've done 7 episodes of series 2 already. Time is flying by.
I know it doesn't feel like we've done so many, but that's crazy.
Yeah, when I was writing down the notes, I was like, oh, episode 7, Phil and Dan in New York. Spoiler, that's what we're talking about. And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
episode 7 already. Crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we got the title in pretty quick now. We're in New York.
We're in New York, and we've also jumped ahead in time. So our last episode was Brownie. No, it wasn't. Was it? No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It
We're so
was Twister. It was
it
first.
wasn't Twister. Wow, we're so good at this. And that was all the way back in December 2012, and we're now in May 2013.
Yes, a lot has happened, but which is not being covered because we're only doing joint content, obviously. But
That's mad that they went
would
so
you like?
long without joint content.
I know, but that's crazy as well because they were working together more than ever because
Yeah,
2013 is when their radio show started in like the beginning of
it
2013.
did. Oh my god, yes.
Uh,
I feel like because we've already talked about their Radio 1 stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, they've been doing the Radio 1 show for ages, but they haven't. Yeah, they just started. Crazy.
yeah, like officially they have their show and they like changed I would say like they paved the way for like audio visual radio shows
Absolutely.
and stuff
They
like that.
changed the face of radio in the UK. I'm going to say that now.
Hmm.
An unofficial claim.
No, I think we can say that. I think we can say that.
Definitely, yeah. So before we jump back into 2013, why not have a little chat about what Dan and Phil have been up to this week in 2024? So it is currently March 21st, and Phil uploaded his Keep It or Yeet It clothing video yesterday. I feel like he knows when we're about to record, and he's like, oh, I'll do something for them so they have something else to talk about.
Yeah, literally, he heard that we were gonna do this segment, and he was like, "Okay, let me feed them."
And he fed us so
keep them
well.
served. So well. This is content tailored for you. I feel like.
Absolutely, honestly. When he did the Instagram stories in the morning, I was like, this is content for me. This is made for me.
Already, yeah.
And then he posted the whole video, which is absolutely insane. Like 19 minutes of him trying on clothes. I could not have asked for anything more. That's my Christmas.
It's some controversial yeet, I will say. Like, I think everyone is in agreement that like things that were yeeted that didn't deserve to be yeeted.
We will always remember
like
you,
the
Katamari hoodie.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Congratulations to whoever finds that in a thrift store. Honestly.
He got rid of some clothes I'm glad he got rid of. I can't believe how long he's been hoarding some of those clothes. Just insane. He's bought from flat to flat. Like, why?
Yeah, they've survived like Manchester and both London apartments. Crazy.
Yeah, he fed us so well. For anyone unaware, I run the Fan Outfits account on Twitter and Tumblr, and I spent an hour and a half after the video was uploaded yesterday finding all of the items of clothing. I was planning to like watch a film, have a really nice chilled night, and Phil was like, haha, not tonight. And then he uploaded that, which is normally fine. I can just watch the video and chill. And then there were all these clothes that we'd never seen before. And I was like, well, I've got to find them all now. And I literally, a good hour and a half spent finding all of their clothes. It was a fun evening, but it did feel a lot like work.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, honestly, you're an icon. You're a legend.
Thank you.
Everyone thank Charlotte for her service.
I got some really nice messages on Tumblr, actually, from people on the Fan Outfits blog, obviously, who don't know, like, who I am. They just follow the blog. And they were like, thank you so much for your services. You're, like, so nice that you've done all this. And
on top of it, yeah.
I'm like, you're welcome. Like, this is just what I enjoy doing. It's really fun. It is fun. It was hard work trolling through Google for an hour and a half, but we did it. Anyway, back to 2013, and Phil has just uploaded Phil and Dan in New York on the 18th of May.
Oh. Ooh, I have it as the 19th. Our time zone thing is really. What I've learned is that Phil just really loves uploading things late at night.
Yeah,
Because
they don't sleep.
this video, I mean, he does not sleep. He edits it and he's like, okay, time to upload it, and then go to sleep, I guess. Phil and Dan, though, so
I
weird.
know.
Instead of Dan Phil.
I suppose this
He
was,
still hasn't hit the Dan Phil
which is weird because
boundary.
they were Dan and Phil on Radio 1, so it's interesting that he's called it Phil and
Mm.
Dan in New York. But maybe it's because it was like his own channel, like he wanted some ownership on it.
Oh, right. That's something he was still going for. Maybe.
And now it's just like, yeah,
Maybe.
whatever. Now they don't even call it joint content. It's just like, oh, I'm doing this thing, and it's like you just take it for granted that like Dan's in the video. Like, yeah, okay, of course
Yeah.
he is.
I think Yeah, I think in the new one he did mention like with Dan in the video, and my first thought was, why would you mention that? Like we know he's gonna be in the corner.
I saw a tweet from my friend Miriam on Twitter. Shout out to Miriam. I don't think she listens to this. And she was like, I don't understand people who just like one of them. Like, how is that even a thing that people can do? And I was like, firstly,
Hmm.
how you can be a solo stan of Dan, I don't know. Like, there's no content there. It must be such a dry, barren existence. Like, just following.
I don't.
And then also, just logistically, like everything that they do, like the other person is involved. Like, oh, let's watch a Phil video. Oh,
Yeah,
Dan's there too. Like, there's no escaping the other person, and like they're always talking about the other person. So, I don't understand. I mean, I can't imagine that there are many people who are just fans of like one of them, but bizarre.
unless they're like super
Yeah,
casual watchers, I understand. But if you're standing either one of them, that's a bit. I don't understand how you do that.
yeah, that makes no sense to me.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway,
What else was happening?
what else was
Funny
happening?
historian Charlotte.
So the video was uploaded in May. They actually went to New York in April. So
April.
Phil was just
Yeah.
really delayed. So Phil does say this in the video, but they went to New York with Fuse, who are, I don't know. I didn't actually look up what the company is. I think they're like
I think I tried. They're still active on YouTube. I think they are something like, I think they're a company related to music of some kind and like spreading music. I actually have no clue. I try to understand it, and their bio like reads like a ChatGPT like
nice.
response.
Nice.
I'm so sorry to whoever wrote that. I feel like I can say that as someone who writes for a living, but I mean they work in music. It's a company related to music, and they make content around it on the internet.
Yeah. So they
Hmm.
invited Dan and Phil to New York, and they did lots of videos with Fallout Boy, Ollie Murs, another singer that I've completely forgotten. And then they just had a nice time in New York as
Hmm.
well. But when the video was uploaded in May, Dan and Phil were having the busiest May that I've ever known anybody to have in their entire lives. So at the beginning of the month, they had gone to the Sony Golden Headphone Awards. So bear in mind, we've just said they've
Hmm.
just started their radio show. This is what, 5 months after they'd started it, and
5 months into it,
yeah,
yeah.
and they've won an award. I mean, it was a public voted award, but still, that's insane that they won this huge award like 5 months into doing their radio show.
Yeah, and it's an Academy Award as well, which they always mention whenever they talk about it,
Yeah,
which is like fair enough. That's a huge honor for them.
absolutely, yeah. So they
Yeah.
went to the Sony Golden Headphones Awards on the 13th of May. And then on the 15th of May, I presume both of them. Dan doesn't have any tweets from this time, so we're just going to presume that Dan was also with Phil.
Yes.
They flew to LA for YouTube Comedy Week from the 15th of May to the 21st of May. So they did lots of videos with
Mm.
that, and I think there's a huge like comedy event in LA at for YouTube. Just this massive
Yeah.
YouTube event that I didn't really do too much research into, but
Yeah.
YouTube.
I actually thought it was VidCon for a very long time, but it wasn't VidCon.
It's so interesting because I don't think YouTube do things like that anymore. Like the Geek Week, the Comedy Week,
No.
things like that. But yeah, that was like a huge
Mm.
event thing that they were obviously invited to. So they get back home to London on the 21st of May. And on the 24th of May, they fly out to Ireland for Radio 1's big weekend. For non-UK
Big weekend, yeah.
people, it's a huge festival that Radio 1 put on every year in a different city, which is very exciting. I don't know if it's still done this way, but if you live in the city, you get like pre-access to tickets. Like you have to put in like your postcode or
What?
something. I don't know if they still do it like that, but I know they used to when Dan and Phil worked for Radio 1 because I was like, oh, I
Where?
really hope that they come to like close where I am because that'd be great.
That would have been great, yeah. I remember they became besties with Fall Out Boy around this time because they interviewed them like twice in a month.
They
or
did,
2 months,
yeah.
I should say.
And then I saw go through Phil's tweets, he tweeted Pete Wentz as well, and I was like, wow, they're on like tweeting basis.
Pete followed, as famously, he followed Dan and then unfollowed Dan.
After the reindeer tweet.
Reindeer Gate, courtesy of Phil.
Do you know what? Fair enough. Pete Wentz was clearly not strong enough for those kind of tweets. It's so funny. That was such a funny tweet.
I know. Phil, underrated comedian of our time.
I think we said that last
He's
week.
so funny.
I feel like we said that he was an
Oh, did
underrated,
we?
or something along those lines. Anyway.
No, but he is.
He really is. Yeah, you're right. So that's what Dan and Phil were up to in May. They were having a crazy time. Also, sort of big thing to mention, I suppose. Phil tweeted in May that he had hit 900,000 subscribers. And also of note,
ooh, yes.
Obviously we have jumped ahead quite a lot. Dan hit 1 million subscribers on February 4th of that year. I don't know if you remember where you were when that happened, but I remember where I was.
Please tell us. I think I remember, but go ahead.
So I was at college. This was like the time sort of when I didn't have like a great phone that could access Twitter easily, but I remember like obsessively checking Twitter and like Instagram and YouTube like every single day, every single like hour to see if he'd like reached 1 million. And I was literally live tweeting the entire thing. I was like, oh my god, he's so close. Oh, he's so close. He's so close. He's so there. And I remember when he hit 1 million, I opened up my notes app on my phone and like I made a note. I was like, February 4th, 2013, Dan hit 1 million subscribers because I wanted to like remember it forever.
No, you know what? That's fair enough. I used to do these things as well. I used to note down whenever they replied to me on Twitter because, like they would do that like a few times. But it's funny that like you mentioned like when he hit 1 mil. I'm trying to think, what was I doing? I was probably at school, but I must have come home and then seen it because I wasn't allowed to take my phone to school. And then probably texted the rest of my friends like, Dan hit 1 million, because that used to be a huge deal. Do you remember?
Oh, absolutely.
Like not everyone would hit that. Like 500K would be like a huge amount for people.
Yeah, but like 1 million was like the big deal back then, especially because it was before so many YouTubers hit 1 million, and now like it's just people don't even care. It's so funny like how the culture is just not there anymore. I couldn't even tell you how many subscribers Dan and Phil had, or like Dan and Phil Games had, whereas before like it used to be so ingrained into my brain like, oh, they have this many and Phil's this far behind, but he's so close to like catching up with Dan. But I've got no idea now. Absolutely no clue.
No idea.
Shall we have a live reaction on the podcast? Shall I find out?
Please do.
Bear with me whilst I get YouTube up and we'll find out how many subscribers Amazing Phil has.
Okay, you do Amazing Phil, I'll look at Dan.
Okay. Wow, that's... Okay, so...
we just went...
Phil has 3.88 million subscribers. I thought he had more than that. I think he might have done. Maybe he dropped.
Oh, maybe. So Dan has 6.1 million subscribers.
Yeah, I knew he had a lot.
Which I also, yeah, but I feel like that is also something. It must have dropped in between
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
and come back up after. Yeah,
That's
for sure.
crazy. Wow. And how many does Dan and
Crazy.
Phil games have? Let's have a little check.
4 million.
This filling.
Oh,
Oh,
it's 2.8.
what?
They should have more. I feel like they should.
What? They should
That's what I'm saying. I thought they had like 4. It's like they have 4 million
They should definitely have more.
subscribers. They have.
I'm gonna have
Get Dan Phil games to like 50 million subscribers.
Maybe we should start a hashtag, because that used to be a thing,
A
wasn't it?
hashtag, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember there was a Phil one. It was like get Phil to 1 mil or something like that, or a million subscriber.
Yeah.
Get Philly to 1 milli.
Yeah. Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely.
They must
something.
have participated in it as well. Like
Crazy.
because insane.
But yeah,
This is what 2013 was like
honestly.
for any like new fannies.
But yeah,
we were like campaigning for stuff.
Honestly, yeah, I remember Dan hitting 1 million, and I just got so emotional because, like, oh my god, he's reached the top, he's incredible. And I went and like watched all the pin-offs like when I got back home because I was just feeling really emotional. And I also went and saw. I posted like an Instagram post about it because that was like the thing to do back then. You just post about everything, and like I took a picture of him like with 1 million subscribers, like a screenshot, and I was like, oh, I'm so happy for him. It's just so weird.
Is it still up?
It's still up.
Like,
yeah, you can still go and see it if you want.
Oh.
And it's this awfully edited photo as well, because obviously the filters back then on Instagram were absolutely dreadful.
Yeah,
and if you weren't
Instagram
using filters, like, who were you? Oh my god, yeah, it's just awfully heavily filtered picture of like Dan's YouTube channel that I'd taken on my like crusty phone.
Good times.
Good times. I love 2013. What a time to be alive. So, Dan and Phil are in New York.
The Big Apple.
The Big Apple. The Big NYC.
Yes. This is a very cute vlog of just like the behind the scenes of everything they were doing, I think.
It was, yeah. I like that Phil starts off the video, so he's facing the camera, he's like, hi, we're in New York because Fizz invited us out here, you can watch all these videos. And then he does it's a classic Phil thing that will be in every single video. He was like, New York dance, and he does this little dance, and there's like some pictures on the screen, and there's like some little jaunty music, and I was like, that is so Phil. Like, that is the most Phil thing ever, because he does that in so many videos.
Yeah, especially I think it dropped off after a bit, but very consistently, like it was core Phil branding.
Phil core.
To do a little dance. Yeah, Phil core. Very much Phil core.
Yeah. And then they went to go and get some pancakes, and my second note was about how cute Dan looked, and I just said, Dan looks so baby boy, because he looks really baby boy in this video, especially all the close-up shots of his face that like Phil is doing. He like looks so small, like that is a baby boy.
You know what? That's fair, and that is true. I really like Dan's hair in this video.
It's quite nice.
As a note. I think Dan has a really good haircut, and Phil has the worst haircut in the entire world.
Phil just didn't know what to do with his hair. He was clinging onto that emo fringe.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing it. I don't know. Sorry, Phil.
It wasn't working for him anymore. And this was 2013.
No.
And this was like peak emo fringe.
I think this is around the time of the pancakes or right after. Oh no, it's when they're it's so basically when they go on the Empire State Building, like right after. This is the first like exciting thing that they do. And Dan says something that I sort of like adopted into my like not vocabulary, but it's just something that I remember very vividly that I started saying. And it's you're gonna jack my swag.
I have that as a note as well. It's
such a strange phrase.
It really is, yeah.
But I remember, like unconsciously, like I just started saying that, like you're jacking my swag, or you're gonna jack my swag. It's so. Ugh.
Maybe we should
But
bring that back. Maybe that can be 2024. Then we'll bring it back. You're gonna jack my swag.
maybe we should.
I don't
Oh,
even know like what it means. Like what it's supposed to mean. Like what is
yeah. Like, where
like
did
a
he pick it up
replacement?
from?
Yeah.
How does one jack someone else's swag?
Like what is the swag in this situation? What is the adjective jack? Like what is that doing? If anyone
Yeah,
knows, if anyone would
he's
like
referring
to,
to buildings.
oh, is he?
Yeah, he's referring to, like, he said the Empire State Building and the Freedom Tower. I think he was like, the Freedom Tower is looking up at. This is the thing, right? He speaks without thinking.
We
And
know this,
so
yeah.
now we have to sit here because we're taking notes. We have to like stop and listen and be like, huh?
Yeah,
What'd you just say?
I just like pick up things that he said. I with that bit as well. They made another your mum joke. I don't know if you picked up on that. They were pointing at all the different
Yes,
buildings. They
yes.
made a your mum joke, and I was like, "Thank you so much, friend of the podcast. We love you, your mum jokes. Bring them back."
There's also Kristen Stewart joke.
Yes, I also made a note about that.
Classic.
My specific
Yeah.
note being, it's 2013. Why are we still making Kristen Stewart jokes?
I know, because it's been like years since Breaking Dawn, so like why are we still talking about her?
Has it been years?
Oh.
Surely not. When did Breaking Dawn come
Yeah,
out?
because they did the video on Breaking Dawn in like
Oh, they
2011, didn't
did.
they? We had an episode about it.
We did. No, did we? Oh, yes, we did discuss that. I
We
think
had a guest. Oh no, we didn't have a guest. My bad.
no, we didn't. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. No, it's because I'm like, in my head, like Twilight came out in 2009, right? No, or was it earlier?
2000, 2008, I think, was the first one. And
Okay,
then
Twilight New Moon was
2009.
2009. I think in my head, I'm like, how did these movies come out so
Yeah.
fast? Like, how are we already finished? Like, I feel like it came and just went so fast. I'm keeping on the 2013 theme, talking about Kristen Stewart. Before sort of they get to the Empire State Building, we get an Irma Gerd from Dan.
Okay.
I don't know
Because
if you picked up on
Ermagerd is
that.
still like in the. I did. I didn't note it down though. It's still in the lexicon, I think, 2013. It hasn't
Yeah.
fallen off.
Again, maybe
But
we
it
should bring
should
that
have.
back in 2024. We should bring that back.
I agree. The time when they did it for the brownie video, I think I started saying it again just in my head because I just like how it sounds like Ermagerd.
We're gonna
Sometimes
leave.
2012
Well,
was
the
good.
poll on this episode is going to be: should we bring back Irma Gerd in 2024? And I will clip
Please
this
vote
bit up
yes.
specifically. I will clip this part up specifically and post it on Twitter and get people to vote. Should we bring back Irma Gerd in 2024? I'm gonna do that
You're
after we
such
finish
a
recording.
social media.
I'm
Like,
gonna.
yeah, like your social media manager era is amazing to witness. Thank you for all the work you
After
do.
You're so welcome. It's because I run all these fan accounts. After we've done this episode, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a really cute picture of Dan and I'm gonna post it on my personal account. And with the caption, "Oh my god, Dan is so hot here," and I'm gonna see what people say.
Good for you, Sean.
Thank you. You should all go follow me on Twitter so that there'll just be like this little in joke between us and the people listening to the episode. Like you'll all be part of this little community.
Yeah, the Best Friends
Friendies,
Club,
which I think we
if
just
you
went,
will.
the best friend.
Yeah, the Friendies with a PH. Another poll: should we call the listeners Friendies, or should we call them the Best Friend Club? Like the best. I feel like
Yeah.
Friendies is funnier. Friendies is funnier
Friendies
for
is
sure.
funnier. We're called the Fannies. Like, that's our collective group community name. Like, we've got to keep up. I don't know when that shift happened from
Oh,
fans. I'd love to study the, I think etymology is the word, of like
mhm.
words in the fandom. Like, how did we move from Dan Girl to Danny? How did we move from Phil Girl to Philly? When did we go from Dan and Phil fans or fans with the PH to fannies? Like, when did that shift happen and how?
Funny.
I'm so intrigued.
Same. Like I want to go back and see like who the first person to call like us a fanny was, you know? Because we had those bracelets, didn't we? Like the first piece of merch was like fandom member number one or
Yeah.
whatever. So like at some point we were fandom members and then fans and then fannies.
Because it's like, it's not, I don't know if it was just picked up from like other fandoms. 'Cause obviously Taylor Swift fans are called like Swifties, so whether it was just like adopted
Hmm.
by internet culture at the time, that we just sort of took the
Ooh.
IE and ran with it.
Ooh, maybe. Maybe.
Maybe if
It
anyone
just
knows anything about
maybe.
that, let us know.
Yeah, please do.
Anyway, back
Alright.
to Dan and
Moving
Phil in
on.
New York, and they're playing a
Yeah.
game of who can get recognized the fastest. So I think this was like a Fuse video that they did that Phil then like spliced into the New York vlog.
Mm, yeah. Because it's very official. They had their mics and everything, and it was very professionally edited, like differently from the vlog.
Yeah. And it
Right?
was basically just a competition. They were like in the middle of Times Square, and it was just a competition to see who could get recognized the fastest. Um, Spoiler alert, it was Dan who got
Yeah.
recognized in 28 seconds, and Phil took 3 minutes to get recognized. But I think Dan was stood in a more like obvious place that more people, whereas Phil was like walking around. I feel like Phil had just like sort of stood still in the middle of a crowd. Someone would have come up to him.
True. Yeah, yeah. No, Phil was definitely like. Also, he was off to the side a lot, right? Like you said, like Dan was very much in like a spot. I don't know. He was walking around a lot, and yeah, he got recognized instantly by like the sweetest like very American boy who is like, "Can I give you a hug?" And by the way, like all of the comments, which we'll talk about later, but all of the comments I saw were just about that guy and how sweet like that little interaction was with Dan, which it was. It was very cute.
Yeah, it was. It was very nice. Um, I remember. So I got a
Yes.
tweet from after I watched the video, which I feel like is sort of the
Ooh.
general vibe of just people at the time. Um, I said, "Is it just me that was upset that Dan got noticed quicker than Phil in Phil's new video?" Because my Philly jumped out.
It really did. I was not
It really
expecting
did.
that. But a lot of the comments were also about that. So you're not like you had a very
I wasn't
popular sort
alone.
of
Yeah,
like feeling. For
but
sure.
I think that this was like the funny culture back then. Like, I think because subscribers were such a bigger like deal, and obviously Phil hadn't hit a
Hmm.
million subscribers yet, it was a much bigger like thing. Like, of, oh, like, this is where like Dan girls get a bad name. Like, that's where it all came from. Like, people would sort of like hate on Phil to like boost Dan up, and like that wasn't the majority of people, but like there was this sort of like general vibe, and I think there was
Yeah.
sorry, I think there was definitely more of a vibe of people like, I'm going to say in quotations, like feeling sorry for Phil that he was being like left behind because Dan had got all this success.
Mm.
So there was definitely this
Mm.
huge like sort of divide, I think, between like how people sort of interacted with them
Uh,
both. And it's interesting that I think that has sort of carried on. I don't know if you'd agree. Also, I know you're not really like in the fandom anymore, but I think
mm,
underlying there's definitely still something there.
really? I'm a bit surprised because I mean, like you said, like I'm not in it right now, but from what I see, like I think people are very loud and vocal about how much they love Phil, and what I see is kind of like um I think Dan gets unfairly sometimes like criticized for things, like in a way that I'm just like, this is a bit
Mm-hmm.
harsh. Like, can you let him live? Because I think he has found such a good balance between like his work and life right now, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I hear people say things about him, and then compare him to Phil, who is very much like has a different work ethic to him, and whatever, like I can't articulate that thought well enough, so I shouldn't go there. But I feel like it's the complete opposite. Like I don't think people feel sorry for Phil at all, but like obviously you're more involved, so I
I
might just
don't
be
think
talking
I
out of
meant
my ass.
like
I don't know.
sort of that. Like, I
Oh, okay.
would like to preface, like, I don't think that people like shit on Phil to like
No,
boost
no,
Dan
no.
up, but I think
Yeah, yeah,
there's definitely a vibe that like I've noticed, obviously especially with Dan like doing this tour, is that people, I'm going to use this as a hypothetical sort of like scenario. If I said
yeah.
on if I tweeted I hate Dan, like people would be like, haha, yeah, me too, that's so funny. If I tweeted I hate Phil,
Oh, right,
I
right,
know
right.
that I would get absolutely like savagely brutally attacked, like the pitchforks would be coming for
Literally,
me, like if I
your
tweeted.
account would be
And it's like, why?
suspended.
Literally, and it's that I think there's just, I think it's just sort of shifted. Like, it's just a whole like different dynamic to what it was back in 2013, where it was this like, oh, like Phil's been doing YouTube for so much longer, he should have 1 million subscribers. Dan shouldn't have 1 million
Hmm.
subscribers. And I think it's just like shifted now, that this whole sort of different dynamic. And I'm not saying that that's what it's like all the time. Like, I think on a whole, 99.99999% of the time, everyone is very equally loving of Dan and Phil, and especially now that they've come back with like the gaming channel, like it's so hard. Well, not so hard, but like you have to like love them both, and I think it definitely sort of evened out a bit. But there
Hmm.
is still that you can't. There are things that you can say about Dan that you'd get attacked for if you said about Phil, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, 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 no. I'm with you on this, like 100%. For sure. And I don't know if it comes from Dan, sort of, when he interacts with jokes like that, he sort of like takes it in, like whatever, like he joins in, or like he's very self-deprecating, whereas Phil like rarely interacts with any of it. So people just feel like they need to defend him or something. I don't know what it is,
Yeah, which is
but I
ridiculous.
don't
He's nearly 40
necessarily.
years old. He can look after himself. He's fine.
He's pushing 40. Like he's
He's
also
not a small
very. He
cinnamon
himself
roll
is very
anymore.
like. Yeah, he's really not. He's not a small bean anymore. And he's also very self-deprecating himself. So I
Yeah,
think it's okay. I think you can. I think you can make fun of Phil, and he'll probably laugh at it.
yeah.
So
And Dan makes fun of Phil all the time. He's used to it.
literally. Um, and we talked about this last time as well, like Dan, Phil, and sort of like their interactions with their fans is so different to like public figures that are not like them at all, like celebrities and stuff. It's completely different, and they sort of, because they were the first few like internet famous people. I don't know. We have a completely different relationship to them, where it's kind of blurry, where it's like audience member and friend. I don't know.
Yeah,
A
but I
topic for
think as
another
well
time,
that is,
maybe.
I think that as well is just the nature of like having a YouTuber as like a celebrity, like that you're a fan of, because there is such a different relationship, because
Hmm.
you're seeing like day in the life videos, you're seeing like pictures of their house, like live shows, like you're
Hmm.
hearing what they've done with their day, whereas with like, you know, big Hollywood actors, like you're not getting that. So it's such a completely different dynamic as to what you're getting to see, so it is so much
Dynamic.
easier to form that parasocial relationship with them, I think, as well.
So after the Get Recognized game, they do something that goes on to be like quite iconic, which is the caricatures from a
Yeah.
street artist that they get done. Uh, what was it? Oh my god. So Phil gets one with Harry Styles, as in the artist drew
Iconic.
him with Harry Styles. Amazing. We don't know where that picture went
I was
after
gonna
that.
say, what happened to
Because with
that? Like, we have never seen that since.
yeah, because Dan's at least like he kept on his bedside table.
So weird.
So he saw that. So weird. It's him and Justin Bieber, and I think is it Justin on his lap because he requested like an intimate moment with Justin Bieber. Would you agree that this is like soft launch of the gay,
Yeah, I definitely think this is soft launch of the gay. I think I think Justin
right?
Bieber is giving Dan a back.
Oh, maybe yeah. And Dan kept that on his bedside table for years to come.
So weird. And I think
So,
when they posted a picture of their like a part of their house, I'm sure that he's still got it like on a shelf somewhere. And I'm like, why? Like it's
oh
so
my god.
stupid. This like little caricature. But yes, definitely soft launch of the gay. I think there should be a new feature in every episode where if they do something, we're like, is this soft launch of the gay?
Is it? Oh no, I agree. Like I think this is part of the analysis that we're doing. It's just like where have they hinted or unintentionally been a bit gay? This is like definitely. I feel like they must have been.
Like the fact that Phil did like his with Harry Styles and like Dan with Justin Bieber, the fact that they both did theirs with like men as like a haha, this is so funny. Like we're getting caricatures like with a man. Get
Mm,
us in a picture of a man.
mm.
So weird.
That's what I was like. This is not funny right now. Like watching it back in hindsight, I'm like, come on. Like, how are we so? I guess we weren't blind. Like, not to be all ooh assumptions on people's sexuality or whatever. That's not what this is. But like, come on. Like, come
Yeah.
on. Right? After that,
Um,
so they got the caricatures and they met up with their friend John, which is crazy. I forgot about John in this video.
yeah, I'd forgotten that he was in this video. I will say I think I'd only watched this video maybe like once. um so watching it for the podcast was my second time watching it. Or possibly maybe I've watched it
Fair
more than
enough.
once, but like I didn't remember any of it at all.
Yeah, no, same. And I watched it a lot. Like, if for anyone who doesn't know, you probably don't know, my username used to be New York DITL, so day in the like New York Day in the Life. I don't
The
know if
one
it
and
was a
only.
reference to this video or if I was like, yeah, if I was trying to manifest a New York Day in the Life, but that used to be me. So I have watched this a lot. I just haven't watched it in years, and I did not remember that John was in here. If you don't
Yeah.
know, John is a very good friend of Dan Phil's, and he's famously Phil's first ever subscriber.
Yeah,
Um,
which is
I
insane.
think that's the story. Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
still friends. Like I don't know how close they are, but they are still friends, which is very cool.
That's just mad, isn't it? Don't you think? Like the fact that they
Hmm.
were still friends in like 2013. I think they definitely are still. They definitely still talk, I think. Um
Yeah, yeah, I
I
think
feel
so.
like I feel like he went to see Dan's show. Maybe I'm making that up, but I feel like he did.
Right?
I
In
think he
America,
did.
right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
whoa,
I think he went to see
that's
Dan's show.
crazy. We'll verify that, but
We will
that's
verify that, yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, they met up with John, which was crazy. And then so I think they did this, they were going to go on a helicopter ride and they were like pointing at like I remember this bit, they were pointing at like some apartment buildings. And like I think Dan was
Mm.
like pointing with like his thumb to the camera and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna live here," and it stirred this memory that Phil had talked about in a live show. I want to say, I presume this is where he discussed it, that he'd like talked about like living in New York and like he would like to live in New York. And I remember like hearing him say that and I just got so sad because I feel like I have such a claim on them because they're British. And I was like, no, you're not allowed to go to America. Like, you must live in the UK for your whole entire life.
Oh my god. Fair enough, honestly. I think Phil would really suit New York. He just comes across, to me at least, um, as like someone who would thrive in a city. Maybe not, because he comes from, like, he's lived
Oh,
in the
that's nice.
suburbs as a kid, but I don't know. I don't know. He said he really likes New York. I think that's why.
Yeah, he has, yeah. And so I think it must have been a live show or something where he'd mentioned that he would like to live in New York, but like because he's so close with his family, he's like, I couldn't be away from them, like
Mm.
be that far away from them. But yeah, I remember being like really sad. I was like, no, you're not allowed to go and live in New York. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
The possessiveness. I can't.
No, I think it's just something about them just makes me so happy that like they're British and I'm British. Like when I
Mm.
think about, I'm like I pay taxes and like Dan and Phil pay taxes. Like we pay taxes to the same government. Do you know what I mean? There's just something about that that just fills me with joy.
I promise, I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you at all. I just feel that so hard. You know what? I completely get that. Because so when I went to the UK when I was 17, they were at VidCon, like just FYI, they were not in the country. But I would go to places and be like, oh my god, Dan and Phil probably do this, and oh my god, that's the thing that Dan and Phil talked about. So it's such a, like, anything that connects you, right? So
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. And what
I
connects me to
pay
Dan and
ta-
Phil is paying
I
taxes.
pay taxes. Oh.
Like there's just something about it that brings me so much joy. Like I'm sad
Mm.
that they don't. So that they obviously they live. I think they live in like they live in a house, but I think it's like in some sort of like area. So I know that it's not like a normal like suburb like street like me. So
Right.
I don't know like what day is their bin day? What day does their bin get collected? Like my bin day is Tuesday. What day is theirs? What if I have the same bin collection day as Dan and
Mm-hmm.
Phil?
Mm-hmm. The parasocial is like parasocialing. Positive, affectionate, fun. I'm not making fun of you, I
Like
promise.
my driving license will
Mm-hmm.
look the same as Dan and Phil's driving license.
What driving
Do you know what I mean? Like that's
license?
bonkers to think about to me.
Do you think they've renewed their driving
I mean, they both
licenses?
have them as a form of ID.
Yeah, but
I reckon they'll use them as like a form of ID because
oh,
that'd be
fair.
so much easier than like carrying around a passport,
Fair, fair, fair.
unless they have some other form of ID that you can use. But yeah, I reckon they have their driver's license. It's like the easiest form of ID to carry around. But
Mm.
mine will look the same as Dan and Phil's.
That's the point of it.
That's
Oh,
the point we're making.
right, right.
Honestly, I could do a whole episode about things that are the same because I live in the UK. Like the things that are the same between me and Dan and Phil, and it would be a great episode.
I'm sure it would. Maybe you should do like a fandom chat about that. You know what? Our next episode
And
is
fandom chats.
like spoiler alert. Our next episode is going to be Tumblr tag, and I think we'll get into some stuff about like fandom and like just all of that. So maybe you should have a segment in that, just talking about the things that you have in common with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll save that for next episode.
For sure. No, I'm being completely
Anyway, back
serious.
to
I'm
the
putting it.
video.
That's not.
Yeah,
It's a 6-minute video. Like
she's
this is
writing it
why we're
down.
going. There's not much left in it. They go on a helicopter. It's a very pretty sort of helicopter ride. John has his own version of it on his channel, um, which I found out later on. Um, and yeah, like that's it. Like that's all they do. And Phil's like, thanks for watching. Today's Drawful Naked
There is a
is. Oh.
there is a really cute bit when they're walking to the helicopter ride and Dan is filming, and he's talking absolute shit. He's yapping, as the kids say nowadays. And Phil has put this little text on it, and he's like, I have no idea what the hell Dan was talking about here.
Oh, I have that
But
as
it's just this
well.
really
Yeah.
cute bit, like Dan's just
Oh.
Dan's talking, and then he does this like really cute little scream, and like it made me laugh so much when I rewatched it for this podcast, and then like I watched it again to make some notes. Like I still laughed out loud. It was just a really stupid bit where he's just yapping away, and he does this silly little scream. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that is the end of the video. That's all that happens.
Good joint content.
Good joint content.
Yeah.
Top tier joint content, I'd say.
I would agree. They have their like official Fuse videos, which are like their Fall Out Boy interview and their Ollie Murs interview, and I think it was Radio City Hall. Like they did a tour of it, and then another interview.
Yes, they did a tour of that.
Yeah. But this was just like their own little vlog to commemorate that trip, which is very cute and nice. But yeah, that's the video. Go watch it. It's cute.
So, shall we move on to some outfit ratings?
Let's rank some outfits.
So, there's a few outfits in this video because it's sort of
it's split, right?
put together over a couple of days. So there's a couple of outfits from Dan. First is the cat t-shirt that, again, we discussed this last week. It's not my favorite. It's getting a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
actually,
mine's
I
the
gave
same
it a
as
6
well.
out of 10 the other week. I don't know why I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I think he just looked nice.
Whatever I gave it, yeah.
Yeah.
He does look nice in it, but you can tell that this is the t-shirt that he's just going to wear all the time.
True. Yeah, he wore it a lot for years until he stopped very suddenly.
He really did. And then the other t-shirt that Dan wears is it's like a black jumper that's got some sort of like sheer paneling on it.
I like it. I'll just say that.
That he wears in like the Fuse video. I really like this. It's very him. It's very classic Dan. It's black, but there's like a bit of an edge to it.
Yeah, I think this is one of his like I don't want to call it a statement piece because it is just like a black jumper. But you're right, like it has that little bit.
It's a bit more bold.
Yeah, exactly. It's like him starting to get into his current sense of style and
edgy
just the
era.
beginning. Yes, exactly. Like he's moving on from leather shirt and getting into actual wearable pieces. I would give this an 8. What about you? Like, I really like it.
I was going to give this an 8 as well, actually.
Yeah.
I was also going to give this an 8.
I loved it. It also fit him really well.
And
it was just very nice. Yeah.
It did, yeah. Very, very nice. And then moving on to Phil, again, we've got a few t-shirts. So for the Fuse videos, he was wearing this very classic Phil, red and black, like plaid shirt. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but he does really suit a red and black plaid shirt.
He does. Like, he knew his, he sort of knows his, what's the word? Like his style or whatever. Like he knew that he looks good in this, so he's gonna buy like 1 billion red and black plaid shirts. Good for him.
Which is what he did. He talked about in the video that he uploaded yesterday. Like he had like 3 different bomber jackets, all in the same color, all in different colors, but it's the same style.
Yeah.
And that thing that Dan mentioned, he's like, just if you like something, like you don't need to buy 10 of things, just buy one. Like the fact that he has like 10 NASA themed items of clothing.
I would also have 10 NASA themed
crazy
items, to be fair. It's just cool.
Oh, me too, yeah.
It's Phil Core.
I can't believe he got rid of that grey NASA jumper. I cannot believe he got rid of that grey NASA jumper. What is wrong with him?
I know. Honestly, all of his apart from the red t-shirt which he wore to death on tour, all of his NASA stuff is so cute. He shouldn't have gotten rid of the grey jumper at all. I'm glad he kept the jacket though. He kept the jacket, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was from NASA though. So
Oh,
that's actually
true.
from like Houston, NASA. So I imagine that cost like a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, fair. Um, yeah. What
He
about
also wore in the sort of end screen and the beginning of the video, he was wearing his Gengar
again?
t-shirt, a classic Phil.
Yes. I can't remember what I gave it last time though. I think it's a very classic
Yeah,
look.
I can't remember either.
Um,
Classic Phil graphic t-shirt. Just what it says on the tin.
yes. Purple's a good color on him. I feel like we said this last time as well. Um,
We did say this last time, yeah.
it's
Purple is a great colour on Phil.
yeah. I would give it like a 5. Like it's neither here nor there. It's a t-shirt.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one, I think. Very middle of the middle range. And then the t-shirt that he's wearing for the rest of the video, it's just this like black generic graphic t-shirt with like a print on it. I don't even know what the picture is. It's that boring and generic. It's gonna get like a 2 out of 10 from me.
Like to be nice, I'll give him an extra point just to like not give him a 2. But am I the problem? Like, am I babying this almost 40-year-old man?
Yes.
Oh
He's not
no!
a small bean anymore.
No.
He's not a
Okay.
sweet cinnamon roll.
I think he can handle getting a 2 out of 10. On a t-shirt he
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
own
He's probably got rid
anymore.
of that t-shirt anyway, so
Like,
I hope he has.
I know. Yeah, same. Like I could not tell you what it looks like right now. And I watched this video hours ago. Um, but yeah. Those were outfit rankings.
Shall we conclude with those were outfit ratings, and shall we conclude with a video ranking?
Yes. What's your um what's your thing?
Ranking out of today.
Yeah.
There's not an obvious one jumping out, so we're gonna say Fizz. How many Justin Biebers out of 10 would you rate this video?
I would rate this
He feels like the
video.
star of the show.
I know he's only in it for like a few seconds, and yet such an impact.
He's not even in it. It's not even him.
It's the spirit of him, right? The caricature spirit of
They're
Justin.
Bustin.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I feel like for what it was, I feel like I'm gonna give it a 6 to be nice. But it's like not a memorable day in the life or anything. But
No, it's really not.
it's really really not. Uh, but like she's cute or whatever, and like New York, and I
Yeah.
have branding to like sort of protect or whatever. So I'm gonna say 6.
Good answer.
What about you, Charlotte? How many Justin Biebers out of 10 are you giving Phil and Dan in New York?
I think I'm also going to give it 6 Justin Biebers out of 10. I think, like you said, like it's a fun, cute video, but it's not like a great joint content video. Like if you've got a joint content craving, this is at the bottom of my list. Like I'm not jumping for this.
Yeah, I'm not recommending this one to you. And it's not bad or whatever necessarily. It's just not memorable. You can like put it on, I guess, if you're into them. Like if you're into their like presenter era and you want to like get into that stuff, then I would recommend like the New York stuff that they did, but not necessarily this video. Like I'll tell you to watch the Fallout Boy
No, definitely
interview.
not.
Yeah, or like the actual Radio One stuff. Get into that for sure. Yeah. So that was it. That was Phil and Dan in New York.
That was Phil and Dan in New York. a fun video. Fizz, we've already talked about it, but would you like to share with the listeners what we're going to be talking about next week?
Ooh, yes. I mean, sorry for spoiling it earlier. But the next episode, we're going to be covering two videos, which is technically one video. It's like two parts. We're going to do Dan and Phil, the Tumblr tag. The first Tumblr tag that they do on Phil's channel.
Yeah.
And then the one on Dan's, which is Dan and Phil versus Tumblr. So exciting.
Yeah. We were originally going to do them as two separate episodes, but they're essentially the same video. So thought it would be better to combine them. Yeah, I'm excited. I have not watched those probably since 2013, so I'm excited to
2013,
watch
really.
them.
I am also very excited. I haven't watched it in years, but I have rewatched it a bunch because they're just funny. I'm really afraid for them though, because like the secondhand embarrassment is, I think it might kill me.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered some things that happened in one of those videos, in the Dan's video. So yeah. Interesting. Some interesting things to talk about. I think it will bring up some really nice fandom chats to discuss sort of how the fandom was back then.
Yeah.
And like a comparison to obviously the most recent Dan and Phil reactor fan Twitter sort of thing.
Ooh,
So
for sure.
yeah, very excited for that.
Yeah. So am I. Oh my god. Okay. So thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you next
We'll
time.
see you next time
Bye.
on the internet.
On the internet. Bye.